Hey, all you Golemancers and Terracore adventurers, Bronze Dragon here. So, I thought it was about time. I've been playing Terracore for about 2 weeks now, just a day shy of 2 weeks. I was invited by the developer to try out his game. Um, and immediately, as soon as I started playing Golem Overlord, a lot of you, or not a lot, but several of you out there had told me, hey, this is very much like Terracore. You should try Terracore. And it just took me a little while to get around to playing it. Anyway, I've been playing Terracore for about 2 weeks now. And this video is not going to be 100%, it's going to be a bare bones comparison. Okay. And most of you who play both games might not get a whole lot out of this. In fact, if I get anything wrong, please correct me in the comments. This is kind of aimed at a person that is playing one and is trying to decide whether they want to play the other one at the same too, because they're both, like I said, both very similar games. In fact, I was chatting a little bit with the developer of Terracore, and he said that Yixen, let me step back one. I noticed that Yixen is one of the biggest, if not the biggest holder in Terracore. Of assets, of a certain type of asset. I forget what it was. And I commented on it because I was surprised. And then the developer for Terracore verified, yeah, he was a big guy. And then he left to form his own game because the games are based on the same code and it's an open source code. So that makes sense. So to me, it sounds like Yixen liked playing Terracore. And after a while thought of some good ideas that he would like to take into his own game, went over and made Golem Overlord. That's kind of what I thought of the way it went. So Yixen, if you're out there and I say something wrong, just correct me and I'll correct it. So anyway, I've been playing Golem Overlord since the beginning, and I've been playing Terracore for 2 weeks now, and they're very similar. They're a kind of game where you attack, you defend, you farm your materials, you harvest it on a regular basis, you try to keep as much as possible from the people attacking you, etc. Now, after that, there are some direct comparisons we're going to go over, and there are some that are definitely not direct, and there you can see where the differences in the games are. So, like I said, this is aimed at, just figuring out if you want to play both games if you don't already do it. So, at this point, they're both, the last I checked, the main tokens that they use are roughly comparably about the same price. We've got scrap in Terracore, and we've got part in Golem Overlord, which are the primary, money type tokens. They are both exchangeable on the Hive blockchain back and forth if you want to. So that's a good thing. I like playing multiple Hive blockchain games because then if you need something in one game, you can send it over and exchange it, buy, sell, trade tokens, and beef your other account up. But largely, they've been kind of working independent of each other, these two accounts. I haven't put a whole lot more money. The first week I played Golem Overlord, I sunk a decent amount into the game, and it's just kind of been riding since then. Terracore, he gave me basically what equated to be a free account. And I have put a little bit of money into it by the way of exchanging some, DEC or whatever other types of tokens, but I haven't sunk a whole lot into the game. I would say at maximum I've put $15 US into it. So, and the most of it went towards buying a ship. So we will talk about that in just a few minutes. Now, I'm going to try to keep this succinct, but it may stretch out a little bit because I wanted to kind of cover the differences and the similarities. And this is from a guy who's only played Terracore for 2 weeks. Okay, so I'm sure I will find more as time goes along, but I wanted to get this out there. And like I said, if you are thinking about playing either of the games, I do have a link in the show notes. Please use my link it helps me out a little bit. Okay. Also, if you like this type of, this kind of thing, if you like me to do this type of coverage, give me a thumbs up and think about subscribing. I appreciate it. So let's start off. Okay, so and I shrunk both windows so they both fit on the same screen, so it might be hard to see some things, but we'll just go over some of the similarities and differences here. Okay, so stash on both games is about the same thing. Okay, it's how much you can hold of your particular part or scrap that you're harvesting, so to speak, or making, creating, before you hit a top limit and you can't fill anymore. Okay, so and they're both you can increase your stash by burning tokens towards that stat, right? So in Terracore, you simply just donate or burn towards stash size, and you can do it on increments of 1. But a side effect of increasing your stash size in Terracore is the fact that you also, at the same time, increase your dodge and luck scores, which help you when you're being attacked. Just, small increments. It's very small increments, but every little increment helps towards your defense, right? And then in Golem Overlord, obviously, it's the banked that controls your stash size. Okay. Now, favor in Terracore basically increases your attack. Okay, not attack right off, but it increases your crit hit, which is going to be a primary stat. It's going to be one of those things you're looking at if you're running an attack build. Which, once again, these builds, attacking an attack build is a little bit different in Terracore than it is in Golem Overlord, but we'll explain that in a minute. So the favor, like I said, the favor it helps out when you're attacking. Now, you would think that favor kind of sounds like faith, but they're two completely different things, right? In Splex, in Golem Overlord, I said Splex because it's in the URL, but in Golem Overlord, faith is one of the primary stats in attacking, how much you steal, but also defending, in the fact that it figures into the equation when somebody attacks you, and it compares faith. So I'm not going to get into equations, but in this game you would think that faith is similar to favor, but two very different stats. Your favor is only going to increase your crit hit, so obviously for an attack build. So, and all these you can increase just by 1, and they give you your incremental chart here, how much it's going up. You can increase by 1, and it does increase generally just a little percentage at a time, or you can go up just by the numbers if you wish. And same with faith. Faith goes up incrementally, but each increment costs more and more and more. Like my next faith at 34, it costs 133. So two very different stats. Okay, so the next very similar stat is engineering on the Terracore side. This controls how much you mine per hour. Like I have a 4 engineering score and I get 0.52 per hour. Now, comparatively speaking, on the Golem Overlord side, that is controlled by your scavenger golems. Now, just to kind of put it basically, Golem Overlord used to have a more basic stat rather than scavenger golems that controlled how much you farmed. And right off the top of my head, I'm not remembering exactly what happened, but it was being abused and found that it was kind of a broken stat. So Yixon changed it to the whole scavenger golems thing. And the scavenger golems control how much you farm, or how much part you make. But they're rolling because they degrade, and they degrade pretty quickly. Like I usually keep 34, 35 scavenger golems going, and I'll have like 1.3 that deteriorate every 8 hours. So you have to replace that. So that's like 14, 15 part every 8 hours. So it gets expensive. Whereas on the Terracore side, you don't have to pay that. Now you do have to pay generally in increments to increase your engineering. As you increase your engineering, obviously, just like on the Golem Overlord side, increasing your scavenger golems makes you a more ripe target because people are looking for the person that's got more production power and they'll keep an eye on you more. And as soon as you kind of don't keep track of things and harvest it on time, then you'll get hit, right? So you're just a juicier target. And with that said, that's another thing I want to mention. Another big difference is the harvesting timing, okay? So in Golem Overlord, your harvest is once every 8 hours, unless you earn and change down to the 4 hours or go up to the 12 hours, okay? He's added those. Now, in Terracore, it's basically every 4 hours. Now, I said basically because, let me get to, so you can see here in my stash, okay, you can see I have a certain amount of claims and one generates every 4 hours with a maximum of 5 claims available, okay? So if you can burn through all your claims, but then you're going to have to wait 4 hours to get another one. So basically, I claim like every 3 to 4 hours. I keep a few in reserve just in case I need them, right? Another nice feature on Terracore I like is that it basically auto sorts who is the best person for you to attack, comparatively speaking, with their defense versus your offense, right? And you can click the amount of attacks that you want to do and then click attack and claim. So I can click, see, I have 4 attacks, which once again, one regenerates every 4 hours. So basically you have one attack every 4 hours with a maximum of 8. So if you go for a while without attacking, it will generate up to 8. But I could go in here and click these top 4, attack, and it'll attack, go through them all and attack them and claim whatever I win, right? And during the attack calculations, it compares their dodge, their defense against my stats as well, right? Against my damage, against my favor, and obviously their dodge is figured off their stash size and such. So I just like it. I mean, it's a little bit smoother for me. There's not as much sorting. You don't have to go through these. You could fish down through if you were looking for a certain person, like if you like to attack a person that's like multi-accounting or something like that. But it doesn't auto sort on who's the best the best opponent to attack with the most stash available at that time. Okay, so I like that. And then the 4-hour hit is another nice thing. So, and being able to have multiple attacks saved and multiple claims saved. So in case you want to do multiple at a time, you can. So I do like that difference. Now, damage, pretty straightforward. It's your attack. So damage on the Terracore side and power on the Golem Overlord side. Okay. Same thing with defense, very similar. Okay, you got defense here, you got fortification on the Golem Overlord side. You'll see I'm running very similar builds on Golem Overlord. I run a defensive build, and I'm moving towards a more balanced build in Terracore because the attacking works a little bit differently. And the one factor I'm thinking of is the fact that in Terracore, if you attack, first of all, I've never lost because I'm only attacking people I have better damage than their defensive. And I've never really lost that I can think of. Now, at certain points, I do earn more. Like, let's look at the logs. You can look at the logs. Come Come on, load my logs. Okay, 1 minute. Okay, well, I'm back. It wasn't me. There's been an extended time period. I guess I'm going to have to wrap this up and call this part 1 of this video, and then tomorrow do part 2, because I do want to go ahead and finish the comparison and give my thoughts about playing Terracore. So let's just call this part 1 of the comparison, and then I'll follow up tomorrow afternoon and round it out and make my second video of comparison, as well as my thoughts on Terracore after playing a week. So I hope that wets your whistle a little bit. As it turns out, the game went down. Something on the back end. The developer lives in Europe, and so offsetting hours with here in the States. So someone had to wake him up, and he's looking into it. So I assume it'll be up within not too much longer. But I wanted to go ahead and wrap this video up for tonight. So thanks for coming. Thanks for staying. Please, if you like this kind of content, give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing. I hope everyone on your side is happy and healthy. Join me back here tomorrow when I finish this video up and do my part B. Thanks for coming by, and I will see you on the flip side.